Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Maura, and if you had told me 2 years ago that I would be getting my only income from YouTube videos, I would have told you that you are crazy. But today I want to make a special video for all my nurses out there and explain how it was an unexpected journey, but after leaving nursing, YouTube became a lifeline and a creative outlet for me. Many of you have asked about my transformation in the last year and the role of YouTube. And some people want to know if it can be a viable option for leaving healthcare and nursing and making an income on YouTube. So today I'm getting real about the pros and cons of using YouTube after leaving a healthcare or nursing career and what it could mean to you. For those of you who are new here, I spent nearly 30 years in the nursing field, most of it in the operating room. And in early 2024, I got a rude awakening with an unexpected layoff. It was a shock, but also a turning point in my life. I took that break in the road and made a radical change by moving to Mexico and giving up nursing. I packed my 2 dogs in my car and we crossed the border, and we've been here for the last year. If you're interested in the whole story, I'll share it in this video so you can check it out. And before I go on, let me just say that I'd love to hear from younger nurses and anybody really who has healthcare experience about what they've gone through in healthcare in the United States. But unless you have at least 20 years of experience in a work environment with a crazy hierarchy, ridiculous pressure, where you're not allowed to tell the truth, please don't tell me I'm wrong. Wait until you have a couple of decades under your belt and then talk to me. It's now been over a year since I set foot in the hospital, and I say that with immense relief and gratitude. I hear from so many nurses who are where I once was, tired, disillusioned, and ready to quit the nursing profession and get out completely. There are over 4 million nurses in the USA alone, and many of them are working in near unbearable conditions. Let's be honest about what nursing care and the whole medical system in the United States has become. I watched year after year as the corporate machine swallowed up the heart of healthcare. Instead of resources we needed, we got pizza parties and platitudes. Instead of real support, we got slogans, heroes one week, overworked and ignored the next. Behind the glossy hospital ads, filled with smiling caregivers and grateful patients, is a much harder truth. I've sat in meetings where executives with million-dollar salaries told us that patient safety is our top priority, while denying requests for basic staffing and resources. I've worked back-to-back shifts only to be told I couldn't take one day off for whatever reason I wanted. And the emotional toll, it's immense. Nurses face burnout at staggering rates, and the suicide statistics are heartbreaking. I've seen colleagues cry in supply closets and bathrooms. I've seen good people walk away, or worse, stay until the system broke something inside of them. I know that pain. I've lived the gaslighting, the guilt, the pressure to be resilient in a system designed to drain you. There were days I felt so hopeless. I didn't know how I'd keep going. The truth is, I nearly didn't. So when I say I understand, it's not just empathy, it's lived experience. And if you're in that place now, please hear this. You are not weak, you are not alone. There is life on the other side of burnout. There are other paths, and you deserve one that doesn't cost you your soul. You deserve peace, you deserve rest, you deserve a life that doesn't break your spirit. It makes you wonder why anyone would submit to a job like that in the first place. When I moved to Mexico, I intended to live on and stretch my savings as much as I could. Because I'm 58 now, and Social Security, if it still exists in a few years, is a ways off. The cost of living here is less expensive, and it's one of the reasons I moved here, so that I could live on my savings and not have to work for a while, hopefully forever. I needed to take the financial risk because I was in a very dark place and I needed a big change in my life. Again, here is the whole story if you'd like some background. My YouTube story actually started before Mexico. A few years ago, I started playing around with YouTube with my iPhone, just looking at what other people were doing. I made some experimental and fun videos that I thought were fun anyway. One of them was about my hair, and another one was about taking a trip on my birthday, just playing around. And then I made a few more videos when I took a truck and trailer out into the Western United States and did some traveling for a few months. And I got positive feedback from those videos from the very few people who saw them, so that was really cool. I really enjoyed the process of learning how to edit video, find music, and make a story out of a short video, and I really had fun with it. Back then, I had no agenda, no schedule, and no hope for income from YouTube. I was just documenting places and moments that I wanted to remember and having fun with the creative aspect of it. Nursing is not very creative in this way, so I was really enjoying it. Then I got to Oregon and get another job and bought a house, and the whole thing stopped. YouTube, I mean. I thought who'd want to see a normal life of a woman working and slaving away and spiraling into depression? Not exactly an inspiring video to make. When I decided to move to Mexico in early 2024, I picked up my camera again, thinking I might want to make some more videos. And I made a simple video called Catching Up to sort of reconnect with my YouTube audience and say hello. I didn't know it, but I guess that was the start of my Mexico YouTube video series and really the start of my YouTube adventure. By May of last year, I decided to commit of making one video per week and see how it went. I was having fun getting some feedback from the audience. I made a couple of kind of controversial videos about some places in Mexico that I didn't particularly think that were for me, but some people got hyper defensive about it, and it opened up interesting conversations in the notes below the video. So I was having fun with it. I never really thought that YouTube would become income for me. I always thought you needed millions of views, millions of subscribers, and even then I didn't know, do they pay pennies? Who cares? I wasn't aware that some people have made quite a living on YouTube, but it was just a labor of love and creativity. I was having fun doing it, and I'm still having fun doing it, which is a good way to do YouTube because if you don't enjoy making videos, coming up with one week after week or whatever, month after month is going to be a drag. Way to focus my energy and connect with some people out there. And exploring Mexico has been a great thing for me to learn to video. It's so inspiring with its beautiful pueblos and amazing beaches, forests, and mountains. The diversity of terrain is amazing in Mexico. It's a large country and there's so much to explore. But the most amazing thing about Mexico is their people. I have been blessed with some amazing generosity and some help when I really needed it, like when I was locked out of my apartment in a town where I knew no one. Strangers have come to my aid, and the warmth and generosity of the Mexican people still can bring a tear to my eyes. I'm especially partial to the pueblos mágicos, which are the magic towns. And those are smaller towns with cobblestone streets and beautiful architecture. I could spend all my life in Mexico just exploring one after the other. When I first crossed the border in March of 2024, I had a lot on my mind, including driving, checkpoints, documentation, the dogs, everything. So I wasn't really thinking about making videos. So there's not a lot of video of those first few weeks in Mexico for me because making videos was kind of the last thing on my mind. But once we slowed down and we got to places where I wanted to explore and take more time, I picked up my camera again and I started making videos again, and it was super fun. These videos are a chronicle of our adventures from the coast at La Manzanilla up into the mountains in Lake Chapala area, San Miguel de Allende, Guanajuato, Tequisquiapan, and then down into Villa del Carbon, and finally here near Pátzcuaro. I would love to see more of Mexico, and it really makes me want to keep traveling. But for now, we're in a beautiful spot and loving this area in Mexico. After a while of making one video per week, I kind of slowed down a little. I wasn't traveling as much. I didn't feel like I had as much to say about Mexico. So now I'm making about 2 or 3 videos per month. And so let's talk about money because that's what a lot of people want to know about when it comes to making YouTube videos. Like I said, when I started YouTube, I never expected it to be an income source. I just did it for fun. But slowly over time, I got more and more of an audience, and I was surprised when it was time for YouTube to monetize my channel. I had been aware of the requirements for that, but I hadn't been keeping up with where I was in that process. So when they told me they were going to monetize me, I was thrilled. I thought, it wouldn't be that much money, and it wasn't at first, but any little thing helps when you have no income. And the cost of living here is less expensive. So the income from YouTube actually covers a lot for me. It's quite variable, the income from YouTube from month to month. But like I said, the cost of living here is inexpensive and it really helps. Anyway, there's a profound difference in waking up every day to make or not make content that I really believe in There's a difference between that and getting up every morning at the crack of dawn to go do a job I really dreaded. It doesn't even feel like work. So that's one pro of YouTube. Once you get monetized, obviously you get a little bit of money. And like I said, for me, it's been enough to make a difference in my life. I only have about 15,000 subscribers at this point. It's growing slowly, and every month is like a gift. I would probably be making these YouTube videos anyway, so to have some income from them is an added bonus. Another pro of YouTube is the kind of community connection that you can build. As a nurse, I connected with patients in brief moments, and that was wonderful. I do miss that part of nursing. In YouTube, I've built a community of regular watchers, and I've even met a few of them in real life and who have become friends. When I first started YouTube, I didn't know anybody in Mexico, so the contacts that I made through my videos were really valuable to me, and it was really the only social outlet that I had at the time. What I didn't expect was how important and meaningful these connections would grow to be to me. Another pro of YouTube is creative fulfillment. I never really had a creative outlet in my life. I mean, I like to cook, but that was about it. I always kind of wished I did, like play a musical instrument or become a painter, but I just didn't really have it in me. But with YouTube, I found a way to add some creativity to my life that doesn't make me feel like an imposter. You can use your own video, you can use other people's music, it's allowed. You can combine everything to make something creative just from you. And to make something out of nothing is really gratifying. Learning how to film, edit, and match music, it was all new to me and new skills to me, and I really enjoy it. I still have a lot to learn and I'm very far from an expert, but this kind of work doesn't keep me up at night and it's actually fun. I'd say the most important pro for me in becoming a YouTuber is only partially about becoming a YouTuber. What I really mean to say is that since I stopped working as a nurse, I've had the time, energy, and focus to really appreciate the life and beauty around me. And being part of YouTube is a strange curiosity because when you hold a camera and you're looking for those beautiful moments, it changes your perception. I was never the best nurse in the department. I was never the smartest or the most charming. But what I did have going for me was that I'm super fast. And that's a very highly prized trait in the hospital where everything is rush, rush, rush. So the hospitals liked me because I did good work at a really fast pace and I never wanted to stay for overtime. And I was good at multitasking under that kind of speed pressure. It's been a welcome challenge to give that all up and go slow. In the beginning of my trip in Mexico, I found myself doing things as fast as I could do them, as efficiently as I could do them when I had all day to do them. And I had to remind myself that nobody was timing me. I wasn't being judged on the speed and efficiency that I could produce. And life was for enjoying. I could leave some of that need for speed behind. Having time, focus, and energy to observe and really appreciate life has changed everything for me. Slowing down the pace of my life has made a world of difference. I know it sounds simple, but I can't tell you how much it's meant to me. I'm sure there was beauty and amazing wonders around me in Oregon as well, but I was so consumed with the job and so exhausted that I couldn't see it. Here, the beauty of every day is like a miracle to me. When you're looking for things to film, you notice things like the bird song and the light coming through the leaves in the morning, the colors in the market that otherwise might kind of blur together and not be noticed. This practice of noticing things has been really healing for me in ways that I can't really explain. Here are some of the cons of being a YouTuber, especially after nursing and healthcare work. The first is the learning curve, I would say. It's not easy to learn to edit. People complain about it all the time. It is very time consuming. And if you don't have any computer skills, I can imagine it would be really frustrating. I have lost some of my videos because of not knowing how to save them correctly. I've had computer issues and malware situations where I just wanted to throw my computer out the window. That doesn't really have to do with YouTube, but it's part of the tools that you use, your computer system. So that can be a challenge. If you're not tech savvy or patient with yourself, it can really become a problem. But here's the thing, when I traded my stethoscope for a camera, I wasn't really looking for easy necessarily. I was looking to feel more alive and in the moment, and it's done that for me quite a bit. And 1 year in, I can honestly say that I feel more alive than I have in decades. The second con I'll talk about is the income. Like I already said, it's a welcome surprise every month when I get an income from my YouTube videos,
but it's definitely not consistent. It's highly variable depending on algorithm and what people resonate with, what people like or don't like. It just seems like you get lucky sometimes and sometimes you really don't. And I can put my heart into a video that hardly anyone will see, and that's just the fact of YouTube. It's not steady like a nursing paycheck, but it's a lot more fun. If financial stability is your goal and you're going to try YouTube, at first at least, you're going to need some savings or other income because YouTube can be so variable and inconsistent. Another con of YouTube, if you will, is that at least for a channel like mine, I'm sharing some personal information sometimes, and I give that a lot of thought, like what I want to share and what I don't. Brene Brown calls the next day after sharing personal information to people that you don't necessarily know, it could be a vulnerability hangover. And sometimes I feel that. Luckily for me, I haven't ever like spilled my guts in a way that made me regret it later. And my audience is mostly very, very kind. So, but there is a chance that if you reveal too much, you'll regret it. And I'm very sensitive about privacy, believe it or not. And I keep my location a secret because there's a lot of weirdos out there. One of the biggest cons about YouTube is the critical comments that you can get. And I don't even mind critical comments, but there's people out there who really get a charge out of just being really mean. And it's an unfortunate truth that the world will never receive some of the most important gifts and talents of sensitive people who won't go out onto the internet because of these trolls. It's really unfortunate when you get your first really mean comment, and I've gotten quite a few. It just makes you want to crawl under a blanket and hide. Since then, I've developed a thicker skin and I don't care as much as I used to, but it still can sting. Another con of YouTube is that if you rely on it for income, then you have a constant pressure to create. If you're doing one video a week or a month or whatever it is, you can't really take a break from that. Or you could make videos in advance somehow. And I'm not very good at that yet. But sometimes you feel the pressure to create and make more videos all the time when you just want to live your life free of that. Not a bad problem to have, really. One real risk of having a YouTube income is that YouTube can and does take down channels all the time for various reasons, sometimes without even giving you a reason. So if you put your heart and soul into making videos in a channel and someday they just take it down and you don't even know why, that could be really heartbreaking and it could really hurt your pocketbook if you're relying on YouTube income. Mostly people who get taken down, I think, are violating community guidelines. Sometimes people violate copyright issues or use people's music when they're not allowed, so they get copyright strikes. You got to follow the rules. But sometimes innocent people get taken down because it's all automated now. So sometimes the automated moderation systems just make mistakes. That's one reason I built a website, and I'm hoping to get more of you over to my website and subscribe there. So if I ever do get taken down, we can keep in touch. Here are things I wish I'd known before I started a YouTube channel. First is start before you think you're ready. You don't have to have perfect equipment. I don't even have a professional light. I just use daylight. You don't need to have the perfect script or the perfect story. I mean, depending on what your channel will be about, you should just start before you're ready. Number two, protect your peace. Decide if and when you'll reply to comments on your channel. I take one day a week and answer emails usually because most of them are really nice, but once in a while I get a really crazy one and I just want to protect my peace. So I make once a week a time when I'll answer emails so I can do it all at once. Decide how much time you'll spend on social media and realize that this is not your life. This is a YouTube channel, so protect your peace. Number three, find your own unique perspective. It's tempting to want to copy all the big guys in YouTube and have that kind of success, but what makes people different is what makes good YouTube videos. There are many YouTube videos about Mexico and traveling, and I think people like my personal videos because they're about me and my life. And if I erased all of that from my videos, it wouldn't be unique. Also, remember why you started. On hard days when I'm having trouble with YouTube, I remember why I started and how it became a fun and creative outlet for me while also making connections with other people. And it still is that way. And one of the most important things to be aware of is audience capture. That's when you start getting an audience and you start becoming aware of what they like and what they want to see, and you start modifying your channel and your behavior, even your viewpoints to address the things that your audience wants. It's really a slippery slope. You don't want to change your channel depending on what your audience wants, because then you'll just be like everybody else. And there's a lot of people out there who will say anything just to get views and money. What I like about my channel is that I'm committed to the truth. And I think that's what other people like about my channel too. Audience capture can be incredibly limiting. And if you're not in alignment with your own values and truths and your own viewpoint, it's very easy to get caught up into that and sort of slowly go in the direction of what you think your audience wants to hear. It's much more important to stay with your own vision, because that way YouTube videos aren't so much of a chore and they're more of a pleasure. So, would I recommend YouTube to nurses looking for an exit strategy? Well, yes and no. I think if you're expecting YouTube to be a huge success and bring you a windfall of money, you might have to be patient. I've been doing this for over a year now, and it's a great income for me, but I didn't never expected anything. So you need to have a backup plan or be able to live on your savings, because it can be so inconsistent. It requires patience, vulnerability, and a willingness to learn new skills that we didn't necessarily learn in healthcare. But the freedom to shape my own days, to do what I want, to talk about what I want, and not have to watch my every word, that's priceless. I left nursing to really save my life, and I found YouTube unexpectedly. I'm so grateful to have all these videos so I can remember our adventures on the road in Mexico. They've become a visual journal of sorts, and I'm glad to have them, because otherwise they could get lost in the blur of my ancient memory. If you're a nurse watching this and you have that familiar ache of burnout, frustration, desperation to get out, you should know that there are other paths available to you. You do not need to keep doing this. You do not need to keep sacrificing yourself in your life. Your skills, your intelligence, and your compassion for people, those are wonderful skills to have, and they are transferable to a life outside of nursing. I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to drag nurses away, because the world needs more nurses. But in the situation I was in, it was a choice of life or nursing. And I can't recommend that people stay if they feel the same way. You deserve a life of freedom, peace, and happiness. Thank you for being part of my journey on YouTube. For everyone who's ever commented, liked, shared my videos, or said a word to me in email, I really appreciate you. You're part of what's made this journey so special to me and so meaningful. From those early silly videos about my hair and taking a trip, all the way to today making this video for nurses. It's been quite a ride, and I want to thank you for being here. Until next time, this is Mora, Vigo, and Olive signing off for now from our cozy corner of Mexico. We'll see you in the next video.